Mitchell Report Unleashed podcast, and we back. And it's one of them conversations today that brings me back to when I started this podcast about things that I wanted to talk about within our culture. Inspiration, overcoming adversity. Today I'm here with a very special guest, Sosa Henkoma. How's it going, my brother?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I'm happy to be here.
I feel you, man. I feel you. You have such a powerful, inspiring story. We're going to get into all of that. There's going to be some trigger warning for a lot of folks, so I want to get that out the way as well. But what I want a lot of people to do, lock in, listen, view. If you're on YouTube, comment, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. We're going to be plugging all of Sosa's information as well in the show notes. So I want everybody to check that out as well because he's doing some powerful things in the United Kingdom, soon to be worldwide. Book it. You know what I mean? But Sosa, we're here. Let's get into it. I want to just jump into the conversation before we get into your story, your origins part. But let's talk about what's the truth about yourself that you've recently accepted?
For me, I'll say definitely is that my past, something that's always stayed with me, and I feel like it's that my past doesn't define who I am now. So a lot of times, like, loads of labels was put upon me as a child, and for me, it was easy for me to accept them labels, like, you're a criminal, or like, you shouldn't expect these type of things from the world and everything else. But then now, as an adult, for me, it's like I don't actually allow all of them type of things to actually affect what I do now. Even the fact of to this day on, I still have a criminal record. I got a firearm marker, and the firearm marker means that I don't get stopped by normal police. I have to be stopped by armed police. But for me, all of these type of things that are still, I'll say, were barriers, that for me it's just obstacles to overcome. And that's something I'll probably say, learn. Like, a lot of times, I posted it literally yesterday where I was like, a lot of times growing up, I was like, why me? But now as an adult, it's now like, why not me? Like, why not me to make that change? Why not me to be that role model for my community? Why don't me to break them cycles? So it's like, for me now, that's something I had to learn for myself. Is like, we all want change and we all ask for change. But what are we doing to make that change? And how are we representing that change?
That's well said, because before we hit the record button, we were going back and forth and we're talking about our power of our voice
Yep.
and us as minority black men.
Hmm.
And I'm going to stress on that. Black men that are using our platforms to amplify ourselves and other voices. You feel what I'm saying? And we're gonna get into the logistics of your story, because I've listened to it from other podcasts and I'm just like, damn. I sometimes though I get to a point where I'm like, I gotta stop this because I'm about to talk with this man. So for me, I want it to be fresh, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But why do you feel like we're the most misunderstood culture right now in the world?
I would say because obviously, personally, I'll say it all starts probably back when from slavery and everything else. But then now is a fact of like a lot of it is very much trauma. It's like we're talking generational trauma, like from decades and decades ago, where it's like we are meant to fit into one box. Like we're meant to just be either athletes, musicians, or the realest truth about it, gang members. So literally, you call it victim of our environments. We're not expected to be anything more. And for me, it was always like proving that, making sure that I don't fall victim to my environment. Like literally, as much as I already have, it's just basically making sure that I make that change, so my environment can see that we can be way more, that we can we can give way more to the world. Like we understand the criminal justice system more than most people, the people representing us. Like, so it's more of a fact of if we're able to now take that on board and actually get an education behind that, we're all able to be the change makers. Like, so it's like at the end of the day, we can sit down and say that the police are terrible and like we don't like the police. But how many of us is actually signing up to be part of the police to actually make that changes for our community?
And that's the thing. That's the thing, though, because you know what? It's something that I talk with all my guys in my network. I know guys that I haven't even met before. 15 years gaming community when we were just gaming on the Xbox, NBA 2K, Call of Duty, all of that. But we're still like this. And it's like when you look at that, that's like a part of your inner circle because at any given time, I hear so many people talk about friends, but like those are the guys that I can simply call on if something's happening. It's like, what is it you need right then and there?
Yeah.
And you don't really have that, especially in a lot in our culture, because a
Yep.
lot of it is just about, yo, I hate on the next brother. That's still happening as we're growing our
100%.
platforms, as we're doing what it is. Oh, I hate on that brother. What he's talking about, what he's doing. He's having this guest, that guest. He thinks he's better than me, and it's not. We got to get out of that mindset. But
It's a
too many
collaboration.
times, there you
It's a
go.
collaboration in a community. Like if we wanna make a change and everything else, we gotta be a community about it. And we gotta work together, look at our strengths and also our weakness. Some of us like literally my strength might be public speaking and someone else's strength might be business. If we put that together now, we're able to make that into a business. Like even my team alone, my team is full of. I've got my little cousin is a musician. Then his friend is the manager. Then we've got cameraman, we've got engineers, we've got producers, we've got everything within the team. And as the team grows, we just ask for everyone to join in and just play the position. That's literally it. Like as long as everyone plays the position, we're able to achieve the main goal. And a lot of times people are very much on the fact of, oh, I need to shield what I've got. But really and truly, having another opinion on what you've got might be able to help you literally grow what you have.
Oh boy, that's powerful right there. Goosebumps. Because that's the thing. That's the thing. But that goes and it speaks to accountability partners. That doesn't
Mm,
matter if it's like people that are friends with you, business partners, relationships. Too
yeah,
many folks are kind of like, well, in the past, maybe I had a couple bad business deals. I isolate people that are trying to get close to me. And it's like you
yeah,
got to distinguish the difference because the thing is, I've always said this: if I don't know something, especially when it comes down to podcasting, I know the people to go to. You feel what I'm
hmm,
saying? And podcasting is such now a global phenomenon. And it's like
yeah,
not because you see me speak in the mic doesn't mean that I don't know other things that are going on because I have to know what sound sounds like. You know what I mean? Sound, audio, visual, all of this stuff. So it's like there's endless resources, but there's too much gatekeeping. And I always say this, man, this the echo chambers. You know what I mean? Where people are just
yeah.
simply sitting here, just isolating your way around and all that other good stuff. You know?
No, 100%. I
Yeah, man.
definitely, I definitely agree. And
Hmm.
that's for me, it's like kicking them. I would say for me, it's kicking them doors, like literally. And that's something I've been doing. It's like just finding ways to collaborate, finding ways to grow the next generation, like take away that whole. I'll say like bad vibes. All of us, we can all work together to achieve our main mission. And if we don't do that, then really and truly, we're failing the next generation. Like that's the honest truth. Because it's like how I look at even rappers. I sit down and think to myself, rappers they get given a certain deals or certain this and certain that, and they still sit down and talk about their old life rather than sitting down and talk about the story of how they got to the position that they got to. So young people are able to learn from it. Even that, like giving back to the community. Why don't they become mentors? Why don't they become like literally advisors and guide the next generation in a better way so that they don't have to experience the same thing. It doesn't make sense, or open the door for them to be able to get into music as fast as possible, or like it's always a fact of like, you know what, I've made it, it's because I've made it. Now you got to find your own way. Like that's not how it works. It's each one teach one. It's like literally as much as I've learned, and especially for me, like everything I've learned, I've always sat there and thought to myself, a lot of times I grew up hating everyone, and I used to think to myself, you know what, like the world is unfair, so therefore I'm not going to sit down and just look at the world as like, everything is black and white. I've got to always look at every single alternative and everything else. And now for me, it's very much like I can sit down and take it as that, you know what, the more positive I give into the world, the more positive I will receive. Like I don't have to literally be screwing or be negative towards the world. I would like the world to be a lot more of a happy place or more positive place. So for me, I try my best to be more positive. Even I remember growing up, I used to think homeless men were addicts because that's all I knew like growing up. But then now I'm able to look at a homeless person and think to myself, raw, like this person has a story. They have their own story to tell in the world. They have their own path and their own mission that they're trying to achieve in the world. So sometimes just the fact of sitting down with them and speaking to them, like, yo, act like what's going on, like literally, like, oh, right, you're talking to me, yeah, like, what you saying? Tell me about you, like, how did you become homeless? How did you become to the position that you got to? I want to know about you. And a lot of times, I'm not gonna lie, I've heard some mad stories. Like I've heard some mad stories. I sit and I think to myself, that's crazy. Like some of them, I remember a guy telling me he was rich once. Like he was rich once, he had it all, and then all of a sudden, one traumatic moment led to 12 years of literally literally nothing but bad outcomes. Like he said, literally, I lost my family, I lost everything, and after I lost everything, I started taking drugs. Now I'm homeless. I don't have anywhere to go, and I'm stuck here. And I don't know how to literally pick myself up. And a lot of times, all some people need is that hands to help them pick themselves up. And for me, the hand that I got, unfortunately, was someone that has been very consistent with me. And because of that hand alone, I've been able to grow. And I'll say, one thing a lady told me before was that most children have a safety net. And if now you don't have a safety net, you're more unlikely to take risk. Like for me, I never knew about safety nets. I just took risk. I just kept on taking risk, taking risks. But now with a safety net behind me, like every single risk that I take now, I'm very confident on it. I stand on it because I now know that raw, like I've got these people backing me. My support network are there and they will tell me if I'm wrong. And that's also where it is too. It's also good to have a good supporting network because if you have a supportive network, which they're just going to tell you what you want to hear, really and truly, like they're just waiting for you to literally self-destruct. But my supporting network, they will tell me if I'm wrong. They will tell me like, you know what, you should have dealt with it like this. There's other ways to deal with things. I remember like, especially trying to leave my old life and become this new person, this new version of myself, and find who I am now. A lot of times it was easy for me to go back to what I knew growing up because once you're as a child, once certain things are embedded in you, it's literally embedded in you, and it's hard for you to literally reprogram that. And for me, most of my life, it's always been violence. If any violation, any disrespect, anything, you resort to violence. And it's like, a lot of times, I remember the situation happened where my solicitor was on the phone and she's telling me, I'm just going to give it to you like this. If you do this, you go to prison. If you go to prison, you get deported. And if you do this, this happens, and this happens, and this happens. So, it's up to you what you want to do. And I sat there and I thought, like, why are you so mean? Like, why are you so mean? But she's like to me, you know what, I have to tell you the truth. Because if I sugarcoat it, you might think that there's still ways for you to maneuver. And I need to explain to you, if you think you can wiggle around this and it wiggles wrong, it's really going to be wrong. Like, and that's for me, is then gives me the autonomy to make that decision for myself. It's not someone forcing me to make that decision. It's me now sitting down thinking, you know what, all the cards has been laid out for me. Now, what cards do I want to play? And for me, it's always like, okay, you know what, cool. Like, as much as this is for me, I don't want to also fail the people that have put all that effort into me to literally help me get to the position I am now. So it's like, really and truly, second chances, I feel like is very much important, and also understanding something deeper, never looking at something at a surface level. I've always, my whole life, asked why. And because I've always asked why, it's always something like where some people may find it annoying, but for me, it always gives me a clearer picture. Like, so I understand everything. I'm able to read the room a lot better by literally asking why.
No, and you know what you're speaking to is that why is going to help you learn, right? It's the
Mhm.
learning lesson that you get. It's also the blessing that you can also get as well. And you're so profound in everything that it is you speak to, because even in that, what you were in that breakdown of the monologue there, it leads me to asking and having the audience now really pay attention, lock in, focus about your story, right? So let's get into that. Speak a little bit about your story to where what happened before to get you to where you're at now.
Okay. So I'll say for me, my childhood was probably definitely not like any others, any other people, like literally. So it was very weird. From the age of 2, my mum disappeared. So no one really knew what happened to my mum. So no one knew, like, for me, it was just literally one day she was there, one day she wasn't there, and I was left with my grandma. Then after that, my father then came. My father was never around from when I was born to like probably like around the age of 4 or 5. Like, so my father never wasn't really around, so I never really knew my father. And the only male role model I had was probably my granddad at that time and I was living in Nigeria. So, and my granddad, I would say he's more on that serious, like literally no tolerate, no nothing. So there was never that whole, trying to teach me how to navigate life and everything else. And obviously, I'll probably say I was still too young at that moment in time. But my father came, and when my father came, he introduced me to my stepmom. At that time, she wasn't my stepmom; she was my father's fiance. And he just basically told me that he's here now, and life was meant to get a lot better. So I'll say that I never really spent a lot of time with my dad because as much as I met my dad, I moved from my mum's side to my dad's mum, and then after from my dad's mum, I moved to my stepmom's sisters, then moved to boarding school. So a lot as a child, there was a lot of moving already. And even then, the first time I was in boarding school was from the age of 5. So from quite young, being with older kids and obviously trying to understand being away from home and where do I belong and everything else. So already from quite young, belonging was a key thing for me. Didn't know where I belonged within the world. Then my father and my stepmom got married. And when they got married, shortly after that, I was moved over to the UK with my stepmom. So my father was already living in the UK, and I was just coming over to come join my dad. But my stepmom brought me over, and I would say after my stepmom brought me over, definitely it was a Nigeria. She was a lovely woman, Like my dad always told me at that time in Nigeria, if you don't like her, I won't get married to her, all of these type of things. So it gave me that sense of like, my father values my opinion, like values me. And so Nigeria, she was lovely, bought me everything I wanted, spoke the nice tongue, everything was lovely. But when we moved over to the UK, everything became a lot more, I'll say darker, where it was like, first it was very much like your dad doesn't love you, or very much like you're the reason why we're not having kids. Like all of these type of talks, very much blaming me for a lot of negative things that happened within her life. And then after that, it was then when the negative things didn't work, because for me as a child, I was only 8 when I came into the UK. So for me as a child, all of these things, like she's my first ever mother figure. Like, so for me, it was like anything she's saying to me, like as much as it might sound horrible, it's going over my head. I'm there like she's still my mother figure, innit? Like I'll take what I'm given. Like I'm happy with what I was given already, like, what I was given. So never really sat there and thought, oh, like this was bad. Then because that didn't really work, she then became physical. And obviously that started with hitting me with her hands. Then from my hands, then went to using the belt. Then from the belt, then went to using poles and all of these type of things. It became really violent. Like, but I would say one of the moments that led to me running away from home at just the age of 8, shortly after being in the UK, was that at one point we went to a family member's house and I wanted to stay with the family member, and obviously she wasn't happy about that, and obviously it was in front of the family members, and she felt embarrassed, She wasn't okay with it. So after that, we were on the way back home. And on the way back home, we've got to the front of the flats, and I was walking behind her, and she had her heels in her hands, and just straight away she's turned around as soon as I got close enough, and literally hit me with the heels, and at the top of my head, and I started bleeding. And obviously, even to this day, when it was 8, and I still have the scar on my forehead still now. So for me, I started bleeding, pouring out with blood, and I'm very much like, damn, like, what am I gonna do now? And she gave me that choice of like, do I want to get in the lift or do I want to walk up the stairs? And for me, it was like, I don't want to be anywhere near her, so I walked up the stairs. And I was walking up the stairs now. I got up the stairs and I just thought to myself, as much as I love my dad and I wanted to be with my dad, I just felt like I couldn't stay here, and this wasn't gonna go well for me. So I ran away. I ran away to try to go back to my family member's house, and which obviously even at that time was her brother. So I didn't know it was her brother. To me, it was just uncle. Like, especially if you come from Nigeria, everyone is auntie and uncle. Like, so you don't know who's actually
Trust me, yeah.
related to you. So for me, it was like literally, I just wanted to get back to uncle's and auntie's house. Like literally, I was done living here. I wanted to go back there. Them. So it was like, I tried to get on the bus, but at that time, I don't know if I fainted or I fell asleep. But either way, by the time I woke up, was the end of the stop, like end of the bus, like the bus journey. So I was lost. I didn't know where to go. So I kept on asking people for directions, which led to obviously the police being called because a young boy walking around, blood down his face. It was actually a cab station. I called the police, but it was quite weird. So they called the police, and the police got involved. And then I was put into care, the social services. So social services got involved, and I was put into my first placement. My first placement, lovely lady. I used to call her grandma, and to me, she was a lovely woman. Like literally, like very caring, very loving, and was very present there for me. But obviously, she went my permanent placement. My permanent placement was obviously due to come, and when my permanent placement came, it was a fact of like, I would say with social services, a background check is done on the adults, but never the kids. So when obviously the background check was done on all the adults with my permanent placement, everything was perfect, everything was okay. But when it came to the kids, my permanent placement with my foster carer, her nephew was actively involved in gang culture. So it was very much like, no one really knew that. Everyone was just the fact of like, kids, there's kids, loads of kids for them to play with and everything else. So there was a lot of family get-togethers, which obviously I was able to attend, and that basically meant that I built a relationship with a nephew. So me and the nephew became really tight, where he used to buy me tracksuits, clothes, all of these different things and that, because at that moment of time, coming from Nigeria to the UK, I was bullied in school a lot. Like in primary school, I was bullied a lot because I spoke different, dressed different, I looked different. So a lot of that really affected my confidence and everything else, literally engaging with and even looking at relationships. So for me, it was a very much like people my own age. I used to think they didn't like me because I was different. So he tried to help me look like everyone else, speak like everyone else, dress like everyone else, even start to walk like everyone else. He tried to basically help me with a lot of things. But I would definitely say that was shortly lived. And that was because he obviously at that time he just disappeared. But now as an adult, I can tell you he went to prison. So for me, he just disappeared. So him disappearing for me was like another abandonment issue, where my mum has left, my father left and chose my stepmom, which left me in care. Then on top of that, my first placement, which I didn't know was not gonna be my permanent placement, like they've gone. Like for me, a lot of people are leaving. Like literally, my whole family in Nigeria, I don't speak to them no more. They've all gone. Like so, there was a lot of abandonment issue building within me. So him leaving, I would definitely say put me in a position of like, okay, where do I fit in within the world again? And that obviously leads to that summer between year six and year seven. So that must be elementary to high school for you guys.
Yep.
But for me, I was at this age, I was 11. So I was 10. I was 10, 11. So I just turned 11 actually. So in that period of time, it was summertime. Summertime, I was given autonomy to be obviously because my birthday is in May. So I was given a BMX as a birthday present. So for me, it was just the fact of just riding my BMX in the park, enjoying my park, which obviously introduced me to kids in the park, which were a little bit older than me. And introducing to these kids, it was a fact of like, I would say that they wanted to use my bike. And obviously for me, it was like, you can't use my bike because I don't know if you guys are going to bring me back my bike. So I don't trust you lot. I don't know you lot to bring me my bike. So they basically just gave with a suggestion of you make the deliveries and that's it. Like, so for me, it was like, oh, like, my friends are entrusting me with a task and, like, I'm very much happy with it. Like, thinking I'm making new friends and I'm very much happy with making these friends. So I've done the deliveries for them. I kept on doing deliveries for them. Like it went on from like probably the first day, a couple of deliveries. By the end of the week, I'm constantly doing deliveries. And at this time, not knowing what I'm delivering, I'm just thinking like this is just helping my friends out and everything else. Then we went from the park, then it went to the neighborhood, and after it went to the neighborhood, I was introduced to their elders. And when I was introduced to their elders, it was then a fact of like their elders just like literally with exploitation. I'll say it literally is a business module where it's always financial gains and everyone wants to get straight to the point. So for them, they got straight to the point and they were like, oh, like, could you go away for a week? And for me, straight away was like, I can't go away for a week because one, my foster carer was Nigerian and I had loads of respect for her and I also understand the cultural dynamic that we had there. So it was very much like, don't upset her. Nah, literally.
For sure.
So,
For sure. For sure. I get it. I get it.
so for me, it was like, cool, I can't go away for a week. Like, I can't do that. And then for them, it was like, okay, cool. Like, why don't you go away for a day? It's what you do anyway. You go to the park and you chill there for the day. Why don't you just go away for a day? You leave in the morning, you be back in the evening. So that's what happened. I was meant to go away for a day and I was in a trap house. You know what we call it, a trap house?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I'm real well
Alright,
familiar.
cool. So, so I was put into a trap house on the first day, and when I was put into a trap house on the way to the trap house, all my friends were dropped off. So originally I was told I was gonna be with my friends. By the time we got to the last destination, I was the only child in the car with these elders, and I was taken into the trap house, introduced to a drug addict who owned the house. Who owned the house, and then I was literally introduced to drugs, which is crack cocaine and heroin, as colors. I was never told that they were crack cocaine and heroin. I was just told that this is light and this is dark. If the
Wow.
person asks, if the person asks for two light, you get either light parcel. If the person asks for one dark, you get either dark parcel. That is literally it. And the person will come back with cash. So to me, magic trick. Now, the addict leaves the house and comes back with cash. So for me, it was very much simple. I was told not to leave the house, and I was also introduced to plugging. So that means putting the drugs inside of me. So I was introduced to putting the drugs inside of me and everything else, all in a space of like probably an hour. Everything was introduced to me like literally an hour. All of these things I'm explaining was literally done in an hour. You want literally the rules of the spot. You're not allowed to leave the house. The only person allowed to leave the house is the addict. If you want anything, the addict goes to get it. So everything was quite simple for me. Like literally, just sit here and just give this guy colors, and he comes back with money. Cool. I done this, and I done it for the whole day. Evening came, and I expected the oldest to come in the evening. So for me, straight away, I'm calling the oldest like, where are you guys and everything else, but no one's answering. So no one answered the phone, and I thought to myself, right, this is a bit crazy. So I kept on calling, even got the addict to call. No one's answering. Then the next day come, I've been there for now 24 hours. Next day's come, calling. No one's answering. Still, literally, it's now landed 48 hours. Still, no one's answering. On the third day now, I'm still calling, but no one's answering. But this whole time, I've been making these phone calls. This addict has been coming to me, and literally, like, imagine I started with literally £10, but now I'm on literally £1,000, like £1,000 something on the third day. Like, the drugs about to run out, and there's probably minimum, like, less, like, not that much drugs left, more money than the drugs that I came. So, evening time has come, and I heard a knock at the door, and I'm thinking, the olders are here, it's time to go home. Very much like, yeah, like, I'm happy, like, literally, home time, let's go. The addict obviously has gone to open the door. And when the addict has gone to open the door, no one's speaking. Like, everything's quiet. And for me, it's like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And, like, what's so... I'm very intrigued. So I've tried to go towards the hallway, which leads to the front door. And when I stepped towards the hallway, which leads to the front door, I saw the addict being escorted with a shotgun. And slowly the shotgun was then now being pointed at me.
Oh, wow.
And at this time, I was still 11. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. But for me at that time, I would say that the first thing that hit me when I saw the shotgun, has always stayed in my head, was never, oh, damn, a shotgun is being pointed at me. The first thing that hit me was that I was given a choice at the start of summer, whether I wanted to go to the play center or go to the park. When that shotgun was being pointed at me, that came back in my head like, damn, why didn't I go to the play center? Like, literally, that's what was in my mind. That I was just there like, why didn't I go to the play center? Why am I here? Like, I shouldn't be here. All of these type of things were playing in my mind at that time. But I just wanted to make friends. Like, I just wanted to have friends. I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted people to like me. So at that time, it was like, I was escorted back to the couch, sat down, but the person aiming the shotgun at me was very much like interested in what I looked like, very looking at my face and everything else. And I was like very like, oh my God, is he gonna kill me now? But he then turned around and asked me, oh, what are you doing here? But at the time he's asking me, he's taking down his bandana. Because at this time, now we're in the stage of balaclavas and everything else. Back then, it was loads of colours. Like, literally, you put the bandana that you rep to show that people done the work. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So, he took down his bandana, and I realised it's my foster carer's nephew's friends.
Oh, wow.
So, for me, it was like, oh, damn, like, oh, raw, like, I know these people. And so, I'm like, oh, when he's asking me what am I doing here, obviously, I come from a code, like, the streets, there's no snitching. You can't speak to nothing or no one about what's going on with the business, like. But for me at this time, I'm singing a cappella. I'm snitching. I'm like, raw, I came in this day. They told me I was going to be back in the evening. They never came. I ate this on a Tuesday. I ate this on a Wednesday. They gave me colors. They told me these colors and that colors. Like, this is what happened. Like, I just want to go home. Like, literally, I explained everything to them. And then they were very much like, oh, raw, like, that's okay. Boom, we're going to take you home. So for me, it was like, oh, raw, cool. So for me, in my head, at that moment of time, these people were my savior. So in my head, I've locked in, like, these people came and rescued me. Like, no one else came. Even though I was too young to understand what they were doing. I didn't know that, literally they came in here to try to look for people that they had problems with and everything. I didn't really understand all of this. I didn't understand that currently I'm in the middle of a gang war. I didn't understand none of these type of things. I'm just there like, my saviors? Yeah, my superheroes, yeah. So, got back to London, but on the way back to London, I had drugs and I also had money. So for me, I asked them, what do I do with these? And obviously they told me to keep it. And at the time, I didn't know what to do with the drugs because I'm like, only know them to be colours. I didn't know what they were. So I just only knew them to be colours and I didn't know anyone like the guy that was in London to be doing what he was doing in the house. So I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. So one of them took the drug parcel, but I kept the money. So when I got back to London, it was a fact of like, now trying to forget about my summer, starting, like,
high school and thinking, you know what, like everything is normal now, everything is okay. And that was the case for a couple of weeks. So I started getting phone calls. And when I started getting phone calls, I'm now being told that I owe money and I owe them. If I don't get them back their stuff, that they're going to kill me. They thought my foster carer was my mum, so they said they're going to kill my mum. And then they thought my foster carer's son was my brother, and they said they're going to kill my brother. So for me, straight away now, it's like my family's in danger. Like these people are in danger. So a lot of times I was dodging. Obviously before this, before I got the phone call, I used to take I would say the easy way, like the quick way to the bus stop to get to school. Now I'm taking the long route because I'm scared to think like, right, if these people butt me, they're gonna kill me. So I'm very much like taking the long route. But shortly after this, I had a looked after child review, which is like a social services meeting that all the professionals come in and they have a meeting. And obviously for me, like at this time, no one really knew what exploitation was. Everyone looked at it as kids being naughty or whatever it was. So for social services at that time, it was like a child your age can't be living that type of life. Like it's not real. You must be fantasizing. Like no one's coming after you. Like you must be dreaming it. It must not be real. So for me, I looked at it as they weren't gonna help me. So in looking at they weren't gonna help me, I then turned to my superheroes, my saviors. I turned to them, and when I turned to them, it was like a couple of days after I looked after child review meeting, or even probably the same day or the next day. Like literally, I went to them, and after turning to them, I was given a revolver 380 at the age of 11, and I was explained to that these people are gonna kill you no matter what, just on the principle of violation. You violated, so they're never gonna let it go. And I was introduced to gangs. Like literally, I was introduced to gangs quite, I'll say, quite rapid. It wasn't even a fact of like, because usually with manipulation and coercion, it takes time. Like, but for me, it was a fact of like, in the speed that it was done was very much quite quick. I was probably say in the space of like 2-3 weeks, I was taught how to strip a firearm, put a firearm together. I was taught how to shoot a firearm. Like I was taught how to hide a firearm in a vehicle. And then in a month now, I'm bringing firearms from different part of the UK to London. Like I'm now literally involved, even to the point where I say before the age of 12, I had a boot filled of like more than 12 firearms. We're talking AKs, Mac-10s, handguns. We're talking revolvers, bulldogs. We're talking literally all different type of firearms, like in one car, like before the age of 12. And it was like, for me, firearms became my normal. Like violence was introduced to me by my stepmom from quite young, but then now firearm is now my normal. And every single time squeezing the trigger became like a therapy, because for them it was like, oh, you're upset, you're angry. Remember the time your stepmom hit you. Remember the time like these people didn't listen to you. Remember this, remember that. And for me, every single time I squeezed like a trigger, it became like stress release. Like literally, it was just like you just want to keep on squeezing until it clicks, and you're like, oh my god, like. And even then, like sometimes you just feel like it's still not enough. Like it became like a way to deal with my trauma. So after that, I was then introduced to County Line, where they then taught me now what drugs is. So for me, what I thought was obviously light and dark, I was not introduced. This is crack cocaine and this is heroin. And I was also taught before the age of 12 how to turn coke into crack.
Mm.
So I was taught wash coke and everything else. And then after that, I would say that by the age of 12, I was gifted, I was stabbed before the age of 12, which was obviously life threatening. And it meant that for a couple of months, I was stabbed by my ribs. So it meant that for a couple of months that I was obviously in the hospital. But usually, you come out of hospital and everyone will tell you, like literally you need to be, or whatever, you to make sure you're good and everything else. Instead, I spent my 12th birthday in the hospital. So when I came out of the hospital, my oldest decided to give me my birthday present. And my birthday present was a shotgun and a bulletproof vest.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And that was my 12th birthday. And then by the age of 13, I was basically facing more than double digits in prison for possession of a shotgun without a certificate, possession of ammunition, and also at that time it was attempted murder, dropped to GBH, then completely dropped. Like, so I was facing quite serious charges before the age of 13. And then it was like, yeah, that period of time was, I would say for me, a very much dark period of time for me, because even just before then, I would say that that age between the first time I got stabbed to before I turned 13, I was probably stabbed more than 11 times. I was shot twice. I was ironed in my stomach. Like, I went through hell just in a year. In a year, and it was like every single time anything happened, it was never a fact of like, take a break, you're gonna be okay. My oldest literally put me back on the front line, put me back on the front line, put me back on the front line. So for me, already violence became my normal. Like everything, these type of things became really my normal. So like I said, my stepmom, like, started that process, but with the gang, violence literally became how I knew how to live. Like that's why I knew how to do robberies, all of these type of things. And a lot of times people look at exploitation as just the fact of young people selling drugs. No, I was introduced to robbing other drug dealers. I was introduced to using a firearm, carrying a firearm. I was introduced to like growing weed, all these. I was introduced to so much things like just before the age of 13. So when I was arrested, it was a fact of like the olders were my older brothers, and for the police to even ask me to turn on my older brothers or my family members, that was impossible. I didn't look at it as exploitation. I looked at them as, these are my family members. So for me, it was like, when they're telling me, oh, these people are using you, this and that, to me, it's like, no, that's my brother. Like, like, literally, do you know, these people saved me at one point. Like, I was stuck in a place and no one came for me, and they came for me. Like, I loved them. Like, to me, it weren't gangs. Like, to me, they were my family. So, when I was arrested when I was 13, I was given bail. And after being given bail, I was sent to an area called Wales in the UK, where you don't really see loads of black people. And obviously I had an afro and everything else. They didn't cook my food. So I was very much complaining to social services, like, I can't stay here. Like, I can't get my hair done. I can't eat none of the food. Like, what's going on? And for social services, for them at that moment in time, we've placed you. Like, you're okay. And for me, it was like, I can't stay here. So when I called my elders at that time, my elders, they came straight away. They got me. And obviously for me at that time, I didn't know, I knew that I was on bail, but I didn't know what bail really was. So when they were explaining to me, like, oh, raw, like, I'm telling them, like, would this be an issue? They're telling me, nah, you're okay, everything is alright. To then later on find out that I was on a run. So literally I was on a run for 9 months. Being on the run for 9 months, while I was on the run, my co-defendant at the time, who was older than me, like 5 years older than me, was in court. Was obviously went ahead with trial, and that meant that I was tried in my absence. And being tried in my absence, my co-defendant blamed everything on me in court. So when I was then arrested by the police, I was already found guilty for obviously the possession of the shotgun and without the certificate and everything else, and the ammunition. But obviously the GBH, which was grievous bodily harm, was dropped. So that was obviously left aside. But I was then found guilty for that charge, and obviously found out that obviously he's betrayed me, he's done everything else, and the gang has done everything else. So initially, I tried to leave at the age of 16. When I came out of prison, I tried to leave. I tried to sit down and say to them, like, I don't want to be involved in this no more. Like, you guys didn't have to stick to your own code and everything else. And my oldest literally gave me the options of, like, is either, if now you choose to walk away, it's like, we're going to be onto you. The police are already onto you. and we have enemies that are onto you. So really and truly, where are you going? So for me, I didn't really have any other options. So which led to me having issues with my oldest for a bit and made me the defiant young person, the defiant younger brother. Then this went on from 16 to the age of 19. And at the age of 19, I was given an option by my elders. And the option was, it's either I hold a firearm overnight or we carry on having problems. And for me at that moment in time, I'm the little brother. Who would want to have a problem with their older brother? I've held firearms my whole life. Like, that's okay. Like, I can do that for you guys. And I've done that. Held a firearm from 6 p.m. Then at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm being raided by armed police because they had intel that had a firearm in the house.
Fuck.
Yeah.
They fucking set you up.
Yeah. And because obviously at this time it's like the mother, obviously I was staying at the mother of my child's house, so my oldest daughter, I was staying at obviously her mum's house. And because it's her house, if I didn't plead guilty, then it is then she gets arrested because it was found in her household. So that's how it works. So for me, I really had no choice than to plead guilty, and that's why I said that we know the law better than some solicitors and some police officers because we are currently experiencing the law. So for them, they understood that. They knew that if now, no matter what, if I tried to plead not guilty, the mother of my child is going to be held liable. And knowing me, everyone knew that I'm very much I love my daughter. Like, I love my kids. Like, that's one thing for me. So when I had my daughter, it was very much like I would protect her by any means necessary. So for me, it was like I had no choice than to plead guilty. So I pleaded guilty to then have my second daughter while I was in prison. So I had my second daughter while I was in prison. I tried to do all the parenting courses because obviously for me, I knew what a bad parent looked like, but I didn't know what a good parent looked like. So I tried to learn how to be a good parent, tried to understand where it is to be a parent and everything else. And then I was given a deportation order at the end of my prison sentence to be sent back to Nigeria. And for me, it was like, I didn't know what to do, but that's when I met my solicitor. And when I was introduced to my solicitor, for her, everything I said on paper, violent, very dangerous, da-da-da-da-da-da. For her, it's like, this is not the same person. I'm meeting a smiling young person, very, like, literally, very happy. Like, it doesn't make any sense how they can describe you like this, but what you present is something totally different. So she wanted to know a bit more. So she's like, oh, like, tell me your story from the start to the end. So I told her my story from the start to the end, but obviously I explained to her, obviously with this, I always have to explain it without the gory and the mad details, but I explained to her everything. And after explaining to her everything, she introduced me to my psychologist. And when she introduced me to my psychologist, she said, please, can you do that can you explain the same story to your psychologist? So I explained to my psychologist my story from the start to the end. And after doing that, I would say it was a fact of like, they told me I've been groomed. And for me, it was like, if I've been groomed, where I'm from, like, bro, this whole wing must have been groomed. Because I know, bro, like, next door to me, he's in prison for his older brother. My man down there, he's in prison for his oldest. Like, this whole wing must have been groomed. And obviously, she was very much like, I know, but I can only tell you about your case and speak on behalf of your case. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. Like, let me let them do what they're doing. But even then, I still didn't take it and understand it. Because for me, it was like, I didn't understand what they meant. I just thought to myself, like, groomed? Nah, I can't be groomed. Like, that's not me. Like, that's not true. So I felt like an imposter a lot of times. Like, at the start of this journey, I felt like a big imposter because I thought, like, this doesn't make sense. Then I was introduced to my trauma advisor by my probation officer. But even for my probation officer, what's on paper and what she's meeting in person, doesn't make sense. For her, I'm meant to be high risk, but it's saying that I'm low risk. She's like, it doesn't make no sense. Like, this young person is very, like, confusing. So she's like, there must be trauma behind this. So she introduced me to my trauma advisor. And I even remember my trauma advisor speaking to me about trauma, telling me, like people go through trauma and all of these type of things and all of that. And I'm sitting, I thinking, like, you mad? Me go through trauma? I give people trauma. How you telling me that I like have gone through trauma? Nah, brother, go ask the other people. They will tell you I am the trauma. Like literally, I'm passing it, I'm handing it out. And she's like to me, like, that's something for us to unpack. And we unpacked it. Like literally, we worked on keeping myself regulated, understanding my childhood trauma and how it affects me now. Then when I came out, even when I came out of prison, I wasn't able to work or study due to immigration. So for 2 years, I had to follow people around. I had to read the room. I had to understand what that type of room looks like. And for me, after when I was given my status, it was the fact of like, I can ask for change, but I'd rather be that change that I want to see within that sector. And I also wanted to prove to young people that we can achieve anything in this world. So it doesn't matter what background you're from, what experience you've been through. Like, we should never let our experience limit us to what we can achieve. So for me, it was a fact of like, when I was given that opportunity to, by obviously an organization called Human Trafficking Foundation, when I was given the opportunity by them to become a public speaker and use my lived experience, it was like, I said, I took it with both hands. Like, literally, I sat there, we went through the public speaking course, trainer, how to build a training, how to do all of these type of things. And for me, the first time I sat there, I spoke to professionals, so social workers, police, and everyone in my first ever training. And everyone was very intrigued. They wanted to ask questions and everything else. And for me, it gave me that whole, it gave me that whole fact of like, these professionals, they want to learn. And because they want to learn, it's like, we need to be able to teach them on how to engage with our community. And after that, I started delivering training, and I done that for a bit. And then later on, a different organization wanted to basically, they just basically sat down and said to me, you got a powerful story and we would like to amplify your voice. And I was introduced to The Guardian, and then I done Lad Bible after that. And then it was like, literally for me after then, it was just basically, then it was like, I have no other choice than to be the voice for my community. So for me, it was, I'll be real with you, it was like, this was an accident. It wasn't a thing where like I just woke up one day and I sat down and said, you know what, I'm going to be the voice of the unheard. No, I'll be real, like, it's a fact of like, I just walked in the path. And I just believe, like I said earlier on, the more positive I give into the world, the more positive I'll receive. So I just try to smile, and I just try to literally help as much people as I can. And that started even with my mentoring. So even with an organization which I was following around in that 2 years, I was a mentee. Now I'm also a mentor and also one of the head of that organization, of that mentoring organization. Like,
I gotta clap for you, bro. No, because you know what? I just want to come in this real quick and let you keep going. You know, listening to this, and this is the thing about podcasting a lot of people don't understand. Listening to this story and letting you go the way you went, I could have very well come in hot.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, let me this. But you're unloading in such a way, and I feel every goddamn thing you're saying, because you speak about it being accident. But I said this the other day. God lets us come into a journey that we're maybe not supposed to understand. And sometimes we got to go through the trials, the tribulations, the heartbreak, the freaking just the frustration. Everybody's story's different. But the thing is, it's the survival kit to help somebody else.
1,000%.
You see what I'm saying?
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
So one thing I really wanted to get into, because you spoke about abandonment, but I'm going to go into that after, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to get into everything that you experienced when you were a young child to where you're at now. Are you afraid, just based on like going out now, you're doing all these podcasts, you're doing all this stuff within community. are you scared that that past can come back or no?
For me, it sounds sometimes it's like I would say that the past that I lived was that I call it the simply way to put it was that one of the nicknames that I was given as a child was the devil walking on earth, and that's because of a lot of, I'll say, dark things that my elders obviously unfortunately had me doing. And it's like now being a person that I am now and being a voice for change, it's like I do definitely worry about people in the past, because at the end of the day, you can sit down and say, I can sit down and say, you know what, my life has changed. But for people who've been affected by my previous life, for them, they don't care if my life has changed. Like, they couldn't give two toss. Like, literally, for them, it's like, you done this to me, so I'm definitely going to come back and get you whatever way I can. And that's something I always have to be aware of. And I'm always going to be in survival and always going to live in survival. But it's a thing for me where, like I said earlier on, where I'm seeing the changes within my community. Where it's like, before, to speak about your experience and everything else was corny. Was like, bruv, was like, brother, like, nah, man, we don't do them things. We don't do them things. I'm gonna say to you, that's not how it runs over here. You feel me? But then now is a fact of like, I see a lot more people from my community now speaking about their experience. Some of them will actually happily sit down and tell you it's due to them hearing my story and sitting down thinking, if this is the exact word, if that demon can speak about his story and literally make a change, then we all can. Literally, that's how. So for me, it's like when they sit down and speak like that, it's like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm not a demon now, but yeah, cool. But I hear it, like literally, because it's a fact of like, for me, I come from a very dark, I'll say for a very dark childhood, where like literally a lot of times I was suicidal. Like growing up, I can admit it now as an adult, looking, because for me, I'm unpacking my traumas like every other day, and I can sit down and say as a child I was very suicidal, because it was a factor for me. I had no one, I had no family, nothing in this world. Like for me, in my head, my mum was dead. My mum was dead, and by the age of 15, my father was dead. So a lot of it was then a fact of like, the quicker I die, the quicker I get closer to my parents. So
Jesus.
a lot of times when people were like, when my elders wanted me to be on the front line and everything else, I didn't mind, because for me it's like, if I die, my elders would sit down and treat me as a legend, but also I would get what I wanted. I want to be with my parents. I want to fill that void. I want that void to be gone. I don't want to be here. So it was like a lot of times, and that's when you said that a lot of the trials and tribulations that we go through, a lot of times it's like, for me, I didn't want to be here. Now for me, I'm happy that I stayed. I'm happy that I survived. I'm happy that I'm able to be a voice. I'm happy that I'm able to change other young people's life. So for me, I'm used to being the dangerous person for I would say bad things, and everyone being that leader of destruction. Now to be the leader of change and still be in survival mode, I don't mind. I don't mind taking that risk, because at the end of the day, at least I know I died for something that I believed in, rather than something that other people wanted, other people wanted. So it's something that I actually want to push forward, a cause that I actually want to push. So yeah.
Yeah. When I hear this story, for me, it speaks, I think, a lot about, and I focus on the Black community. Because
Mhm.
see, as myself, as someone that's a podcaster, doing this for 8 years, and you start seeing the success, you start seeing the people recognizing, you start going out places, you start meeting all the people over in the Toronto area. And a lot of folks don't know that there's a lot of work we have to do, right? I can't
Mhm.
speak to your experience, but I can speak to mine. And I
Yeah.
think for me, what I say is that listen, better yet, pay attention to listen to then understand. Because I
Yeah.
think what happens is people come with these preconceived notions, the confirmation biases. I see it everywhere, right? The confirmation bias is where they see you stand, I'm 6'4", I'm athletically built. Oh, it's just another Black guy. But
Yeah.
then you start speaking and you start sounding educated out your mouth. Then you know what the whole world's trying to say to you? Oh, he knows a lot. He's a dangerous
I know.
individual. Fuck, man. He's got a powerful voice, a booming voice. But it's the instrument to be able to showcase that, hey, listen, I have the power and the overcoming adversity with this whole entire podcast. And you got life and this and relationships and all of that stuff. Not everybody that comes on your journey is meant to see you and understand
Yeah.
you, let alone feel you. So I say that going even back into that story where you spoke about the abandonment, because I think that's very important. Is there times that abandonment comes back in, and how do you
Yeah.
overcome it?
For me, I would say that the saddest thing for me, yeah, is like what I want to achieve in this world is, and I had this conversation with someone the other day because they're saying to me that you can achieve success and success is still not enough for you. And I was like, I know. Because it's like half of the things I achieve now, I come from the hood. But literally, I just came back from speaking at OSCE conference, one of the most largest organization in the world, like literally, which has 50 something countries. I just came back from Vienna speaking at that conference. Like, and for them, it's like, that's amazing and that's crazy. But for me, I wish my mum was there to see it. I wish my dad was there to see it.
Whew.
Like, for me, like, the void that I have in my heart, I will never lose. And it's like, I have to learn every single day to live with it. Like, someday I might wake up and not feel 100%. Because at the end of the day, it's like, it hits me. That raw, like, you know? Like, it's not this, like, literally, you're not like everybody else. And it's like, for me, as much as I don't have that for me, I would like to be that for someone else. Where, like, no matter what, I would like to be that role model, that positive male role model in your life, fighting that battles for you, where you don't feel like you are not safeguarded, you are not protected, or you don't know what's going on. So for me, it's something I had to literally do. But it's like, I have to live with that void every single day. And sometimes it's just taking a day to just sit down and just say, you know what, I'm not with it today. And that's okay. Like, that is alright. It's alright to not be with it today. Like, it's alright to take a break. Like, and that's something it took me a long time to realize. So for me, it's like, as much as I become more successful, the more it hurts more. But for everyone, it's a change for everybody else. Everybody else is very much like, oh my God, you're achieving so much, you're doing so well, you're doing so great. But it just reminds me that the people that I want to actually see this, like, will never see it. So it's just something I just have to learn to live with every single day. And I have to just learn how to regulate myself every single day. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you don't become a better person straight away. Like, it takes time. You're going to make loads of mistakes. And that's why I encourage my young people. I tell my young people every single day, bro, I don't expect you to be the perfect person. I just expect you to try. I expect you to try every single day on being a better person than you was yesterday. Like, that's literally it. And if you do that every single day, bruv, you will be unstoppable.
Facts. True say. You know, I speak so much. I look at some of my guys that are in the space of, influencer, you want to call them. They have YouTube channels or they're doing all that good stuff. And then you have some that like look at it, kind of going back before we hit the record button.
Yeah.
You have some of our people, and it's not to diminish them, but it's like that hating ass mentality that they have. Or it's that, oh, I can't do this because I'm this and blah, 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 blah. And still playing the cry victim. And I'm speaking this to my culture. I know other culture. This is straight talk now. And I always say, it's like, look, you got to get your head out the fucking gutter, man. We look at all of the people that we've seen, predominant black folks, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Tiger Woods. They may have had overcoming adversities and things, and I know people are going to say whatever. But we all champion those people. But we never want to reflect inside of ourselves. We never want to look into that mirror because we're nearsighted to look into ourselves to be that potential Michael Jordan, that Kobe, that LeBron. You feel what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
Tiger Woods. Because we're too we ignore we ignore our possibilities. We all have a talent in this life,
Yes.
but it's our determination, our factor. You may not grow up with a mother or father. You may not grow up with the right people in your environment. But the thing
Mhm.
is, you got to remove yourself out that environment to go into an environment where you can soak up the knowledge, to where you can simply sit here and be able to say, hey, listen, I can do what it is I need to do. It could be on the Sosa level, it could be on the Rory level. But what
Mhm.
I'm trying to say is that forward motion only. Let your trauma, right, or let what you've been through, or let life lead you on the path,
Yeah.
right? It could be that special talent. Heck, we speak about athletes right there.
Yeah.
It could be your voice. Maybe it's even your pen, let alone.
Mhm.
Maybe it's silent. I can write things on paper and make it make sense to
Yeah.
make someone feel something. Now I'm talking Maya Angelou. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And what it's just saying to folks is that, I'm going to present the question in a matter of moments. The Black community, we need to stop playing off of our potential days of like still living in that slavery mindset,
Yeah.
but overcome it and spin the question to you, where is, what is your message? Just off of what I just said, what is your message to the Black community and how they can be able to make that change?
For me, I'll be real. It's a fact of like you said, is that victim mentality. It's like we all have a talent. We just need to nurture it and choose to not be a victim of our environment or our circumstance. We can be way more. Instead, let's plan on how to escape that environment. Literally, for me, like it's all about escaping the hood. Like that's what it's all about, is escaping the hood. And the hood is not just let's say you call it your area or your neighborhood. It's also mentally. Like literally escaping that literally that whole thing of like, this is how these people are gonna treat me. This is how, like, right, if you know, like, do you know how many times I've been in a room where I know they're treating me in a different type of way or with their bias and everything else. But guess what? I'm gonna go in that room and shine anyway. Like, literally, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna do what I came to do, and I'm going to leave the same person that I am. No one's going to change that. Like, when I first got into this, a lot of people expected me to be the suit tying guy and very, very much change how I am. But for me, that's not who I am. I don't feel comfortable like that, and I'm not able to do that. I can't confine to what people want me to be. I can only be myself, and it's either you're gonna accept me for who I am, or it's alright. Like literally, I'll find a room that does accept me for who I am. Like, and that's something I had to learn the hard way. Like literally, because for me, it's that I remember asking my trauma advisor before, like, oh, what do I wear? And she's telling me wear whatever you want to wear. And I'm like, I wear loads of tracksuits. And she's like to me, if you feel comfortable in tracksuits, you feel comfortable in tracksuits. But it was like for me, it's like I did not feel comfortable in tracksuits. Is that's what everyone else told me was what I was meant to be wearing. And then now it's like for me, I'm very like crazy with my fashion. Like, I love wearing different type of cool things and everything else because literally it's like that's me. I'm a fashion person. I like that type of element. Yeah, literally that's my little hobby, my little hobby. Like, do you know what I'm gonna say to you?
Yeah, yeah. You're speaking to something that my mentor. I have a coaching background through Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, and he said the exact same thing. He goes, "I can walk into corporate America, ball cap, Jordans, t-shirt, shorts,
Yeah.
and I'm not the suit and tie guy." But he says I can
Yeah.
still lay it down in front of all the executives. You see what I'm saying?
That's it.
And that's the thing is, the outfit is not what makes the person. It's what's coming out of here makes the person.
100%.
You see what I'm saying?
100%. And I'll
Sheesh.
definitely say knowledge is power. And people that underestimate knowledge. And I'm not just talking about knowledge in a book. I'm talking about knowledge with experience. I'm talking about knowledge even through visual learning, knowledge with everything. Taking everything, taking your whole surrounding, learn from people, learn from literally like I spent 2 years following like my trauma advisor, my mentor, my listen. I spent 2 years listening to everyone before I sat down and said, you know what? Now I can take lead. Now I can be in a driver's seat. It's alright to be in a passenger.
It's alright. Like literally, people think that I must be the leader, I must be the driver. It's like learn to play your position and wait for your time to shine. And that's what I did. I waited and I waited. I remember before I got my status in the country, I was telling people, oh, like once I get my status, like there's no stopping me. There's no stopping me. Everyone used to think that it's just, just words, just words, just words. And now it's like, I remember when you was telling me that. I remember when you was telling me that, bro, you're doing the most. 3 years. You've been doing this for 3 years. Like, oh my God. Like, but it's like, I knew this because for me, I believed in it. I believed in it. And the manifestation is key. It's like, speak it. Like, don't just have it in your head. Speak it. If you plan on achieving world domination, speak it. Sit down every single day. Look in the mirror and tell yourself every single day, at least 5 to 10 times, that I would literally achieve world domination. Like, it's literally, speak it. And if when you speak it, it brings that in your head and you're always going to have it. Like for me, half of the things I achieved, I said it. I said I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't have no plans on getting there. I just told God that, yo, hey, listen, yo, pattern, innit? Like, literally, right here, bro. Pattern, man. Let's get with it, like, literally. And for me, it's like, I've been able to achieve things that, like I said, never thought I was able to achieve. I might have spoke about it, but never in my head did I think it was ever going to come to existence. Like, so, yeah.
Before we close out, Sosa, this is special to me because as a positive black man like yourself, watching you do this and listening to the previous other episodes you've done, the podcast, I say to folks this, and I'm going to coin this. I release every week. Every week there's a new podcast coming. We're at the time of recording this. It's mid of April, and I will already tell you this. This already goes down as top 5 for 2025. Top 5 episodes already. I could have LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. You never know. Come on the podcast. Top 5.
No,
this is instantly top 5. This because you know what it is? I feel your fire. I feel your hunger. And brother, just keep doing what you're doing in the United Kingdom and surrounding worldwide area. And I'm going to tell folks this. If there's anything that I can do to help even get some of your traction, which is going to happen through this podcast over here in Canada, because we have our own set of issues. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's folks like you, it's folks like myself that can really just upkeep and start creating a phenomenon.
100%.
I'll say this real quick before I give it back to you to close it out. I came into this podcast on social injustice issues on the heels of when Colin Kaepernick taking the knee, national anthem and all that. And I saw that where that traction was going. I saw everything that was happening with that. And what tend to happen is a lot of folks misaligned with what it is. Oh, you ain't going to go nowhere. What are you sitting here talking about? George Floyd happened in 2020. All those people shut the fuck up. Excuse my French. They all had to shut the fuck up and give me my flowers. Because when I went on social media, it wasn't all about the photos. It wasn't all about walking in the parks and doing the rallying. It's stand up for what it is you believe in and put your money into that organization that he was doing. To now where I've even speeded up further, where it's like 2021, doing the podcast, going video, doing this, having all the business guys, all the business women, all the influencers start coming through. I had that aha moment. I said, listen, your voice is what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And I even say this. It goes back to even what my mother said. My grandfather never started his career until he was 32. The podcast started when I was 32, and we're 8.5 years of doing this. So what I say is to folks is to build even more in the ecosystem in the conversation. Go after what it is you want. Stand up for what it is you believe in. Pull up them socks, pull up them underwear, pull up your track pants, track suit, whatever you want to wear. If it's a fitted, if it's the braid up, if it's the headphones, if it's the mic. You can set your sights on what it is you need to set your sights on, but never stomp on people to get to those positions.
100%.
Rally into those positions. Sosa, back to you. Close us out, my brother, by plugging all your information. And what else you got coming up for you for the rest of 2025, my man?
There's a lot going on. So but I'm in the process of obviously making a charity because for me, I feel like a charity is a legacy. Right, and for me, it's like this change is bigger than me because I want to change the criminal justice system, not just for the UK, but for the world, how the world perceive young people and take in young people. and especially adultifying young men. Like, so for me, it's like it's very much like you're trying to get I'm trying to obviously get the charity open, but right now I'll say there's a lot of stuff happening. So literally, but social media, my socials like Sosa underscore EST. So EST stands for Everybody Stands Together, because I believe I feel like collaboration is the only way to achieve greatness. Like, that's the honest truth. So that's why I like that. That's just my brand, collaboration. And yeah, I think that's it. Like,
That's
literally. And
it.
I got a website. I got my website coming up
I
soon.
love it, brother. I love it, my
Literally.
brother. I love it. It's greatness that's upon us. This is to steal that. This is to steal that from Eric Thomas a little bit, but it's greatness upon us. And whatever you got going on, like I said, it can be DM, it can be email. I'm saying this for the record. Reach
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna start talking to some people on this end and just really see what we can really do, because there needs to be change. There needs to be changes with a
1,000%.
lot of stuff. Don't even get me started with the court system, especially how it treats us as
I
minorities
know.
and people other around the world. You know what I mean? Change is coming.
Yeah.
The scaffolding is starting to trickle down. You feel what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I'll leave it as that. My brother, I appreciate you, and keep going, my man.
No, thank you for having me, man. Thank you.